Okay, we are live. Hello, hello, everybody who is watching today. We are going to give it like 2 minutes just because people don't get notified right
Okay.
away. So we're going to give it a second for people to get on.
Let me turn
Like
my
I told
phone
you
off.
before, replays are big. So I'm not even worried about the amount of people that are going to watch, but I do want to wait for people to get on. So if they have questions about credit, they could ask you. First and foremost, I want to say, I want you to give information, but
Okay.
we are not giving out things for free. So
Okay.
we want to make sure that if we kind of just reel it in a little bit. I have a bad habit of, but I want to give everything,
Yeah, me
So
too.
so
I'm just
so
as bad.
let's make sure that we help everybody, but we're not, we're not giving them the whole chicken, I guess you could say. So
Absolutely.
let me make sure that I'm live where I want to be. Make sure you can obviously share. If you can't share it, let me know, and I will, I guess, make it public. Um,
Would it allow me? I
on
don't
like,
see I don't see an option to share on my end. It says I can share my screen, but
if you go to your, if let's see, if you go to, I'm gonna tag you in my
okay.
personal page,
And I got my phone too.
and then you could, I
All
believe you
right.
can
Let
share
me
that.
pull. Okay. Okay, I got
There
the
you go.
tag. Let me think.
That
Let
tag.
me see. No, not yet. I don't see it yet. There we go. I got the tag. Let me see if it allow me to share it. Let me turn the sound down. It has feedback. Let me see here. Let's see if it allow me to share this. I don't see the option. Oh, let me try the dots. Let me take it down. Let me take it all the way down and let me try the dots. Let me do this. Let me see. I don't see the option.
If you go to the live that you're tagged in and you see there should be
Yeah.
like a share option.
It's another window that's popping up. Oh no, wait a minute. The window was popping up on top of it. Oops. My bad. Let me go to right post.
You could do a watch party if you want.
Credit talk. Bam. Sometimes I do a watch party like later on in the evening time. I kind of,
Marketing
redo it.
101.
Right. I'm learning. I'm learning. I
Yeah.
got I got friends in places who do this
Me
for a
too. Me too.
living.
That's how
Yeah,
I
so they
learn.
help me. They help me.
Yeah. I learned from my good friends. I'm like, "Oh, how did you do that?" And then of course if it's someone that we're very close to, like, "Oh, I'll show you." And then I start using it
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is genius."
Man, it works out perfect when you have
Yeah.
people in those type of spaces to help you.
Networking is a wonderful
Yes.
thing.
'Cause some of them don't mind, like, "Oh, yeah, I'll teach you. You just
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to alrighty then. I'll
yeah.
take it."
Hmm.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
I
post
like
it
to
to my
ask.
page, but it
I
won't
do
let
like
me.
to ask first. Hey, do you mind if I integrate that on my end? Because I don't want to. I don't want people to be like, wait a minute, I just did that, and look at her over there stealing my stuff.
No,
So I
no.
do like to be like, hey, is it okay if I use this? And usually, people are like, yeah. I've never had somebody that tells me, no, don't be.
Right,
So,
right. Absolutely.
I just want to borrow the idea permanently.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, let's get started. We have a few people on here. I want to respect everybody's time. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Sasha Figueroa. I am an CEO of Figueroa Virtual Services. My official title is Operations Manager.
Okay.
I help business owners, entrepreneurs, basically take control of their business and actually step into the CEO role. It could be very crazy, being an entrepreneur, and 9 times out of 10, I would even say 10 times out of 10, honestly, the back end of somebody's business is usually shot. No matter how much money they're making, the back end is shot. So
Right.
that's where I come in. So definitely want to introduce my guest today, Miss Charliette. I love your name.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. It's so
yeah.
I like that it's not just Charlotte or it's Charlotte.
Right.
Very, very nice. I like it. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody what it is that you do a lot.
Yeah,
So
I do.
whatever it is you want to say, just go ahead.
Hi guys, my name is Charliette Cummings. I am from Dallas, Texas, where I still reside. I'm actually in Arlington, Texas now. I live in Arlington, which is between Dallas and Fort Worth. Currently, what I do is I help so many people do different things. I have various different partnerships with different companies for different products and services. One of them of which is a company that does credit restoration. Um, just to give you a little gist of what exactly happened to me and my husband, several years ago, of course, by trade, I'm in the software space. I do software testing and software system design. That's what I went to school for. So I went to college for that. But however, like most of us, we went to school, we have mountains of student loans. So, of course, at the particular time, I thought it was cute to have like over 100 some thousand dollars in debt just to get a degree. It's great because you get a nice job, but sometimes your job is not gonna be matching that RI, right away. So, hey, so I had got into all the student loan debt. So by the time 10 years after I graduated, they told me I need to pay $1,200 for my student loan payment. And I'm not talking about none of my other stuff. I'm not talking about my house note. I'm not talking about my credit card debt. I'm not talking about none of that stuff. I'm talking about just my student loan. So that's the gist of how I got into trouble. So what I did something radical and went out there and said, "Oh, I need to do this. I need to be able to pay this." But I never was able to pay the loan. So what I did is I went to a debt settlement company and say, "Hey, can you lessen my debt or whatever?" And they was like, "Oh yeah, sure, we can do that." They lessened my debt, and several years into the program, after when I tried to end the program, like towards the end of the program, I owed several thousands of dollars because this it was ramifications after the settlements had happened with the particular creditors. I had to pay taxes on on all of that money. Yeah, yeah, it was ridiculous.
I
It
always
was
wondered about those.
Yeah, so it was my lack of understanding of the contract that I signed, which the company. I mean, I can't do anything to the company because it was my not read my you know not lack of knowledge of not reading my contract basically.
Right.
So
Right.
yes, so basically it was a waste of time and waste of tens of thousands of dollars because you pay into this particular program. What their job is to do is to settle the debt. But what they don't tell you is that a lot of times the creditors can still sue you. It depends on how the contract is set up. They don't tell you that you have to pay the taxes towards the end. So basically, you're paying the settled debt anyway. So it's like a complete waste of time and money. So I just want to
How do
share
they
some
do that?
insight. Yes, I just want to share some insight with you guys. I'm telling you guys, I mean, if you have questions about this, definitely reach out because I know it in and out because I've been through all of that. The whole entire program. You're thinking like, oh, once this program gonna end, it's gonna be good. No, you're gonna owe taxes. You can potentially owe that debt because I still had collections on my account from being in that particular program, which was a complete waste of time. But luckily, I like we're discussing and we're sharing on here. I
Yeah.
found um, a solution actually on social media, and it was weird because it actually came to me because I was like, "What do I do now? I don't even know how to start to fix this." Because keep in mind, I was a person that never had bad credit, like ever, until I decided to do this particular program, which was a bad decision, but sometimes you make those type of choices when you get in that situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You
You
feel
feel like
like,
you feel like your back's against the wall.
yeah, like, what do I
Like,
do?
I gotta do
Exactly.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta do something. This is horrible. And then my husband was tied up into it. That's what's so bad about my situation because we had some combined accounts. So
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just stupid. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to fix this. He hates me. He's like, what did you do? I'm like, dude, I did not
Oh,
know it was gonna
when
do
you're
this.
married, the finance,
Yes.
it's not only you.
Yeah.
I love, and I'm probably gonna get some slack for this, some flack from it from people, but I don't
Right.
understand how people who are married think that their income is their income or their money is their money and the other
Mm-mm.
person's money is their money. I don't understand where they see that separation. Like,
Mm-mm.
if that was the case, then why is my debt his debt and his debt my debt?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's ours. It's really all combined, and we in our case we had like combined credit cards and stuff.
Right, right.
So that was how I got into some huge trouble. I'm talking about like bad to the point to where our credit score dropped like hundreds of points. I knew it was gonna be ramifications, but I didn't think it was gonna be hundreds of points.
Oh,
I mean,
so quick to fall, so slow to
yes.
rise.
I was like, this is terrible. But if you guys think about it, just think about it, their process. They literally tell you not to pay your bills.
Yeah,
So if you have these particular accounts within this program, you're not supposed to pay these bills. However, you can continue to pay your mortgage and car note or whatever.
yeah.
That's supposed to keep you afloat, but it does not. Because until recently, I learned the system of how credit actually works. So, so it's not going to keep you afloat. It's going to steady just decline, decline, decline until you get to the point where you go from like the sevens all the way to the low fives or 400s, real quick.
Quickly,
Yeah,
quickly.
quick, because like one late payment can knock you down several points. So let's say if you had like 12, 13 accounts, it's a wrap.
Oh.
It's a wrap,
Yeah, yeah.
man.
My heart is literally pounding right now.
It was bad. It was so bad. And people were just like, are you serious? And one lady, okay, so I was getting asked so many questions about this. I had to write an article on LinkedIn about it. And one person was like, dang. She said, oh my God. She talked about, I literally had this company in my pipeline to call back tomorrow. You have completely saved my
What?
life. I said, you're welcome, girl.
My cash app is.
Oh my gosh. I said, you're welcome. I said, I just couldn't. I mean, I know those companies probably
Wow.
hate me and they're going to hate me even more because I'm going to continue
No,
to talk about it because I
it's
don't
not
care.
okay. It's not okay.
It's not okay because people don't understand because you're in panic mode, especially like right now. It's really bad. Guys, be on alert. There are TV commercials, there are radio commercials. Just be cognizant of what all that program entails. For me, it did not help me whatsoever. I don't know if the other people that read my article and I've talked to that actually gone through it like me, they had the same experience. I don't think I've had anybody come back to me and say that they had a good experience because that's what I put at the end of the article. I'm like, hey, did anybody have anybody else experience this? I want to know. Did this happen to you? They was like, yeah, same experience, and it was like for different companies. So you just have to be careful. I mean, it sounds great to eliminate your debt, but if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it.
So based on all that, based on your experience, because that's what makes you an expert. Anybody
Right,
who's an expert in their field, in their space, is because they didn't just learn about
right,
it; they went through it. So they're coming at you with not only experience,
right,
understanding, knowledge, but a light at the end of the tunnel. That's
right,
why I have a client who we're constantly telling people when it comes to finances, stop trying to get these fly by night people. Actually find someone that's
right,
going to give you, the right information that's right for you, and not where it's just getting them something in
right,
the long run.
right.
And so you being in this space, you dealing with this already,
Oh yeah.
um this could people can come, the very pessimistic people. Well, what makes you different than them?
Oh yeah, I can touch on that all day and every day
Yeah.
because I had already went through it. So
Mhm.
what happened was, okay, like I said, the score was just down for both of us. I'm talking about Lola. We was like, this ain't gonna work. We can't deal with this, and we was already finished with the program. I was like, I got to find another way to get our score back up to get all of this stuff off your report. Because then again, too, what a lot of people don't know, you're gonna have settlements on your report. They don't help you. at all.
Yeah,
The late
I learned
payments is
that.
still there. The late payments
Settlement,
is still there.
settlement is just as bad as saying that it's not.
Yeah, it's just saying it's not paid. Mine for me was collections on mine still after all of this had happened. So what I had did, there was a advertisement coming across my feed, LinkedIn. This lady says, "Would you like to learn how to, increase your credit score?" I'm like, "Well, I definitely need this because I'm gonna go check this out because I'm not trying to play no games because you got to be at the point to where you fed up." So that's what I was at the point where I fed up. So I went and I met with some other individuals, and they was like, this I went to a bankruptcy and I went to this. Now I'm like, oh wow. I'm like, guys, what are y'all doing? They was like, we're using this system to be able to restore our score. I said, dadgummit. I'm like, if I
Yeah,
would have known this, I would have never entered in my program. So let me just give you a gist of what the system does. So basically, they help you with your disputes. That's pretty much what the system does. They help you with your dispute. However, there are other key components to the credit score that people
right.
just throw out the window. The debt, you're gonna have to fix that debt if you want your score to increase. And there's various other different components too. You
Yeah,
have to have that mix. You
yeah.
have to have the credit card plus maybe a mortgage or something or another type of loan. You have to have
There's
all that stuff
so much that people
simultaneously.
don't know.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it all has to be in good standing. So in our particular case, ours was not. So I was like, "Dang, is this even possible to even fix?" And
Mm,
they were like, "Yes, you just have to follow the system to the T." And that's what we did. And thus far, we've got total probably 316 points back on our credit report
wow,
within a little bit over a year. So it works, but you have
wow,
to use a
that's a
whole
lot.
yeah, it's a lot. I'm like, I was shocked. I didn't think that
I
anything
get
would be
excited from when they say 5 points added. I'm like,
right,
yes, six,
right,
yes. I paid all this money for that 5 points.
right, right. It's
Cha-ching.
you have to know the system. You're
Yeah,
like, oh, it makes sense. It's like I'm smarter now. I'm more aware. And once you know better, you'll do better. And plus, this system works pretty much for everybody. You just have to follow the system. And it is, I'm gonna be very honest. It's tedious because you have to understand is you have to switch your mindset. It's not what you think it is. Yeah, you're thinking like, once I get all these negative stuff off my report, it'll be good. I can do whatever I want.
process.
No, no. That's why like some people will say, well, I've already been through credit restoration before, but it didn't work for me. Did it not work? Or did you not follow the system? You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right,
Is or did they even have a system? The
right.
program that you did? Because it takes a system.
Yeah, I'm
You
all about systems.
yeah,
No lie. Like my whole company is based
right.
dependent. My
Yeah,
revenue
I
is
see.
dependent on systems. Plain
Hmm.
and simple. That's everything. Operations, metrics, team management systems.
Right.
So important.
Yeah, so
And
you can
people forget
see.
the finance
Right.
system. They think that when you say finance system or money system, they are the only thing that people think about, which is just people just don't know is
Right.
okay. Oh, I got a budget. I have a budget. It's more than a budget.
It's more than a budget.
You need,
It's
you need
part,
a
but
plan.
a budget is part of it.
Right. But it's so much more than that. And I think it's really, really good and wonderful that people like you who are legitimate, and
Right.
that are actually trying to help others, not only because you've been there, but you know how
Right.
it feels. You've been through it. So you can not only tell them you're not just regurgitating somebody else's system.
Nah.
You did the system. You
I
made
did
it
it
work for you.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had posted something that was really, and it's very, very true, a product of the product. That is
Right.
the biggest testimony is your own testimony.
Right.
That's the biggest. I mean, any testimony on top of that is just, the cherry on top because
Right.
you could say, hey, oh, I dealt with that.
Right.
It's not, oh, well, somebody told me that they dealt with that exact same thing. No, I've dealt with this. I've been in,
No.
I've been with the people that kind of screw
Right.
you over, and I've been where I've actually been successful, and now I'm taking that information, and
Right.
instead of just keeping it to myself, I'm helping everybody else, which is wonderful. I
Right.
think that's really good. So one thing I saw on one post that you did, I believe it was on the 10th, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
You did a live, and I don't want to misquote it, but you had the first line was really, really good. I mean, I watched it, but the first line really stuck to me.
Mhm.
um You said when others ask you how you got so good understanding credit and finances, you gave away your biggest secret. You had
Right.
help. So, which I think that's such a big deal because everybody's like, "What's the secret to this? What's the secret to that?"
Help.
You help.
Help.
You cannot do it on your own. You have to
Right.
find someone who's been there, who knows how to do it because they did it,
Right.
and they are not just, regurgitating somebody else's stuff. So,
No.
what would you say, without, like I said, without giving away too much, what would you
Okay.
say is something that people could do to just to start uh that mindset shift?
Taking ownership.
Mm.
Accepting like, hey,
Okay, rewind.
man,
That's too hard. We gotta
I,
end life. We're done.
man, listen, I done messed up on here. I'm
Right?
taking ownership. This is me
Yeah.
and all me. That's what I did. I took ownership. I'm like, yeah, this is like I told my husband. I'm like, yeah, this is me and all me. You didn't do nothing. You just fell into this trap, which I assumed that will actually help us, and it didn't. So I would say taking ownership. That's number one. Understanding your situation, and don't be afraid to share your story either. It does not matter. And then again, too, what I've learned in the books and stuff that I've been reading too, it doesn't matter if you make 20,000. It does not matter if you make 200 million. If you don't know how to manage money, you will always be broke.
It's true. It's
you
true.
if you
I
don't
see that
understand money,
firsthand.
you'll be broke.
No, I
Right.
see that firsthand. The client I told you about, constantly seeing million dollar companies, multi-million dollar,
Right.
six-figure companies that on the surface they're making revenue, they're making the money, which that's our goal if you're an entrepreneur. That's the whole purpose.
Right.
But then when you lift up the hood, because there's no
Yeah.
financial systems, they really have no profit. They really have no structure in their finances. If they did not get something for 2 months, their company would probably fail. You know,
Right.
so it's you really. That's why I was glad that we got to speak. That we're speaking now because there's
Right.
so many people out there that are saying that they're going to help, they're going to help, they're going to help, and they have all these flashy ads, and they have all these,
Mhm.
check out my car, check out my house, and which having good credit and making sure your money is on point can get you those things, but are they really as solid as they're saying that they are?
Right.
you know
Right.
are,
Exactly.
are they actually living proof that what they're putting out there works?
Yeah. I am.
So I think it's very important what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, because I don't think people understand the ramifications of what this just being in a situation like this can do, or just not just necessarily mine dealing with settlement, but just anything just extremely financial and detrimental. It actually messes with your health.
Right.
It literally had me sick like for days. And I don't think people understand that part. I'm like, y'all, this stuff is like some real deep like stuff right here.
Yeah.
If you just sit there, you either sit there and you just like, I just don't know what to do. I'm just gonna continue doing what I'm doing because I don't know a no type of way out, then that's perfectly fine. Me, I went the opposite route. I was already doing researches and stuff like that, and it was real funny because it actually came up to me in my feed. So I'm like, this got to be a sign or something like that. I
No,
said, so
we'll say it's a sign, but it's called Google Analytics.
right. Yeah, it's Google Analytics, but yeah, I'm like, this gotta be a sign because I don't even know this person or whatever. So I connected to her. They was like, I mean, you want to come out? I'm like, shoot, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be surrounded with people that have like issues like me, and some of their
Right.
issues were worse. So
Mm.
I thought that I had issues. I had the people, some of the groups, they were saying that they had felt ill, and you can't work. What can you do?
Yeah.
So they were still able to use the system and help, their situation as well. So I'm like, okay, I'm in now. Especially for me, I was kind of afraid in the beginning because I'm like, oh my God, I wasted like blew through thousands of dollars in this particular program that I thought that would help us, and it did not. And I just had to let people know. I'm like letting people know, like, hey, you might want to be careful if you want to enter in one of those programs, because you really have to understand the ins and outs of one of those programs. Some people it may benefit. I'm not sure. The people I've talked to have not. So,
Right. So were you nervous to get into something new considering all the fail, the letdown and the money that you had already spent.
Yeah, it was terrifying, but I was like, I looked at the whole entire thing as a whole, not just one component. Most people, in most credit restoration companies, they're focused on that credit restoration piece. Nobody's talking about savings. Nobody's talking about budgeting.
Right.
Nobody's talking about, hey, your credit is not going to be good if you had a whole bunch of debt. So I mean,
Right.
nobody's
The
talking about
obvious.
this stuff. It's conversations that need to be had. Nobody is talking about the other components, and it's not just the negative items.
It's
It's
like,
more than
yeah,
that.
it's like having everybody says, well, if I had so much more money, I would be fine. Well,
That's
no,
not
because
true.
if you're managing the little you have, if you're mismanaging it, it don't
Yeah,
matter how much you have. I mean, it'll make it easier to deal with the stress a little bit, but it's gonna happen again. It's gonna
yeah.
happen
That's why I
again.
was. That's why I was stressing the book that I read by Dr. Lynn. And a lot of her books, she talks about that as well. She literally was a person that was on top, on the bottom, on top, on the bottom. Millions, bankruptcy. So yeah, so
Yeah,
she that's what she tried to stress too as well. And some of the things that she teaches, like, hey, it does not matter if you make $30,000 or 30 million. It does not matter if your mindset is not right. You won't have nothing to show for it. Nothing. And you don't have to be a millionaire to be able to, correct your credit. You don't. There is like reasonable ways that you can actually do this, and it's just no understanding the strategies. I literally had a video out a couple of weeks ago, and people like, dang, I didn't know that about building credit, like stuff
right,
that you can actually build to build your credit. Like,
right,
it's little simple things. You're like, huh? They have like rental programs. They have like programs where you have a secure credit card where you only really spending what you have. That's great for people that are horrible at spending money. I do get it. Sometimes you have to meet people where they at. That's
right,
the perfect opportunity for them to use a secure credit card. I mean, it's like this
right.
insane stuff. Me personally, I have another one that I use that it's like a CD where I'm like literally paying a cheap amount of CD and building my credit at the same time.
That's
It's
amazing.
it's some crazy stuff out
Yeah.
there.
On your site, I had gone through your site. So when somebody works with you, what are the things that you focus on with them?
Well, with them, so basically, when people come on board with us, we do tackle the negative items. However, it's like a slew of other things
Yeah.
that you work on at the same time simultaneously. That's the
Mm,
component that people miss. That's all inclusive. It's
that's
all
right.
included, and all of this stuff is free. If you use these tools are so powerful. There is a tool in there that will tell you exactly what you need to pay off and how many points you will get. That's how powerful it is.
Hmm.
It will tell you, like, hey, if you can find a way to pay X amount of dollars on this, the likelihood of you getting this particular point increase is significant. It will tell you, yeah, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, if I would have known this was out, I'm like, I just kick myself sometimes because I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
if I would have known, I mean, thousands of dollars would have been saved, like thousands, because
Right.
that's what another component that people don't understand. The interest rates will chew you alive.
Whew. Yeah, it's funny because
Yeah,
when you go for those credit cards and you go for
right.
these things, you
You
have
think it's all
you have
cute,
such yeah, because you have intention that you're I'm not gonna
right?
that interest rate is not gonna touch me because they say
Whatever.
12 months interest free. But you're
Hmm.
like, oh, I'll have it paid within 12 months.
Yeah, you can beat that system. You happen to
Like,
pay the 12 months, you good. But if you don't, shoot, they
yeah,
be done tacked on by 500, 600, $1,000. You be like, dang.
yes.
Here I go again.
Well,
But
I
if
have
you can do the system, you pay it off in that 12,
crazy.
you're good.
Yeah, it's good. I have a question. And this is you don't have to go into too much if you feel like this is going a little too much
Okay.
into your program or whatever, but um can you talk a little bit about what happens when you dispute something and it doesn't get approved to be removed?
Awesome. Absolutely. You continuously dispute it. You continuously
Awesome.
dispute it. You continuously to stay on top of your game
Yeah.
because legally they have to investigate every single dispute you're seeing anyway. That's what people don't understand. That they literally have to.
So
You
they
stay
actually
on top.
they actually have to investigate
Mhm.
those.
That's by law. They have to investigate those.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's wonderful that if anybody that's watching, if you have any questions and you want to learn, get connected, I actually added all of Charliette's information on the bottom. On the
It's awesome too.
Thank you. So on the bottom, the one scrolling across the screen, that is actually the link for her website. And then on the card, that's showing her Facebook link. So I'll leave that up there a little bit more while we kind of wrap up a little bit. But if you want it, which one do you prefer them to connect to you with? Do you want them to reach out through Facebook just to kind of make that connection? Or is there a way on your site where they can schedule an appointment?
Yeah, on my site. So basically, what happens on my site is a little video. It talks about my background story, and at the end of the video, you can schedule a call.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll give them a little insights on some testimonials and stuff like that. I'm gonna update that site pretty soon because we got a slew of testimonies. Some add them.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. And so if you guys are not ready to credit and money can be very scary sometimes. So
Gosh.
if you're not ready
Ooh,
to make that appointment, because it is, you have to be raw when it comes to these things. There's no way to
absolutely.
get it taken care of unless you're totally 100% honest. And if you're not ready, and
Right.
don't take this the wrong way, but if you're not ready to start making moves, don't reach out just yet.
Right.
Connect to her on Facebook, and then because I know that when you work with people, you're like, all right, let's get this done, let's do this,
Yeah,
because you've
let's do
done
this.
it
'Cause shoot.
before.
Yeah, because I was
Let's do
ready
it.
and when I did it. I'm like, I'm doing
Right.
it.
So you want to make sure that when you connect, and make sure you're ready. And if not, then at least connect through Facebook. Just some kind of connection with somebody like her that is actually going to guide you in the correct direction and
Absolutely.
not misguide you. Or I want to talk more about this. What happened with these programs, because I don't
Right.
care what they say, people need to know, because
Yeah.
we see those all over the TV, all over the radio, all over all this stuff, especially during tax time. They're like, vote
Yeah.
your tax money, fix your credit. We can fix your credit, pay less. If you owe this, my favorite and least favorite ones is the tax owed, the people that owe taxes.
Oh, yeah, I heard those
And
every morning. Yeah.
I'm like, people that feel desperate because
Right.
it's scary. The IRS taxes, it's a scary thing.
Right.
So it irritates me, because I know that there's going to be, whether it be elderly people that are
Yeah.
scared, or people that are just they're just naive and they don't understand, or just
Exactly.
uneducated when it comes to the finances. Because that's all it is. It's just financial education is what we're trying to
Exactly. Pretty
promote.
much.
Yeah.
Just
So
understanding.
it is. So when they don't have that, and or they feel like their backs against the wall, they jump, and
That's what I
stuff
did.
happens. Bad stuff happens. And then
Mhm.
they say, "Oh, well, it's going to take, if I do it the right way, it's going to take a year." Well, if you do it the wrong way, it's going to take longer than a year, or you do
I was
nothing, and the year still passes you by.
yeah, I was trapped in that debt settlement for 4 years. 4. When I coulda
I,
did something like this in like a year's time or less. I
yeah.
mean, it's ridiculous. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're literally locked into this contract for literally like 4 years." So that's a 4-year decline. You just
Mm.
steady declining every single month. It was horrible. I don't know how else to explain it.
You thought that the light at the end of the tunnel was going to be
Yeah,
success.
that's what I thought. I thought like, "Okay, man, I'm getting finished or whatever. I'm about to finish this program. I'm good." I was worse off than what I started because literally I was in $1,000 of debt. Then
Mm.
on top of that, I was left with collections. Then on top of that, we had like a
What did they
secret.
do?
They did settle the accounts. However, they don't tell you the ramifications of what a settled account looks like on your credit report. So
Mm.
it's still settled, 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 settled. That's not good because you still have the late payments on there. They didn't tell you, I even asked that particular company like, "Hey, what can I do about my credit report? I mean, my credit is garbage." "Oh, we don't have any resource for that." I'm like, "You
What?
got to be kidding me." I said, "Golly." I was just, man, I know. I think I
So
probably
so
cried.
basically, now that I'm thinking about it, basically what they did was
They
what we
did
can
settle the
do.
count.
But that's the thing.
Mhm.
Us as consumers and that being our credit, we can call and ask for a settlement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ways to negotiate that. And
See,
I didn't know that either. I had
mm,
no idea. And I just,
they,
lately in the last couple of years or so, I just been getting just a whole bunch of knowledge. I even have an attorney that does that I do follow, and I've been learning from him. And he was like, "Oh no, you had that set up correct incorrectly when they was settling your accounts. Hey, you have to have this set up this specific way for them to remove it from your report." I said, "God." I said, "Well, thanks for telling me now. I just met you a year ago." He said, "Oh no." He said, "No, there's literally you had to have that set up and put in place." And that's another thing that most people don't know. If you do that settlement, there has to be an actual formal document that you and the creditor agree on, saying that you will remove this from your credit report after this is settled. But if you don't have it in place, it's a wrap. Yeah.
that's not cool. Well,
No.
I
Mm-mm.
I can honestly, we can go down everything
Oh my gosh.
hours because I mean,
Right.
I've been there. We're blessed enough to have a home that we were able to purchase and things like that.
Right.
And but I was very nervous beforehand because it makes you seem like, these companies make you seem like you're worse off than what you really are,
Yeah.
and that
And it wasn't that
there's no
bad.
option. Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
that's the thing that I want people to understand. If you feel like do you get people that they think they're in the biggest hole
Right.
and they're not even they're at the top just starting to dig, they're not even close to being in a hole? Do you
Right.
come across people like that?
Mhm. All
Yeah.
the time.
So
I'm
do
like, it's not that bad." Like, just calm down. It's not that bad. I mean,
it's
my
just lack
situation,
of
I thought it was
knowledge.
bad. Yeah, but it's just lack of knowledge. Like, you can do this and you can do that. Oh, if you need a couple of points, you can do this or whatever.
Right.
If you're trying to purchase a home, they don't play that. I mean, they're gonna go dig in there deep. I'm a homeowner myself, so I know that process, and I know the
Yeah.
refinance process as well. You can't. It's almost like you can't skip steps, guys. Especially if you're gonna make like a major purchase, they don't play that.
Yeah.
They're gonna look. They're gonna look. They're gonna look, and
Oh,
I know.
they do.
Yeah, they dig in there deep, and it's a lot of. I'm
You're like,
hearing a
why
lot
do
of
you need to
people.
know that stuff?
Yeah,
None
yeah,
of
they.
your business. Oh, it is.
Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot of people like, "Oh, you can do trade." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds nice, but if you spend all that money and purchase a trade line from somebody and they can't verify that information, you're in the same hole again. It's
Yeah.
not going to do you any good, especially if you're making a large purchase. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
It's
We need
no shortcuts if that makes sense. It's really not.
yeah, we need to stop
Yeah,
trying to promote these quick fixes,
no quick fix. It's
if
really
you
no
have
quick
this
fix.
much money, I can fix everything. And
No.
it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing. So, again, if anybody is interested in connecting with her, just across the bottom, you see her website, bit.ly link. And then on the card, you can see her Facebook link. Whichever you're comfortable with, just connect with her. And just start a conversation. If
Right.
that's all that happens, just start a conversation. And I'm sure you have things all over your Facebook and all over your
Oh
page
yeah.
that people can kind of look at and get acclimated with. And it's a scary thing. It is a scary thing, but it is very
Tell me
important.
about it.
There's people that they tell you don't need credit, and then there's people that tell you that who the heck cares about your credit. And stop
I don't
listening.
think that's true at all.
Stop listening to people that say you don't need credit. The
Especially
world.
for business owners, it's more important now than ever. I don't care what nobody says. Business
Yeah.
owners need it as well. I
Yeah.
don't care.
You work with business owners trying to fix their business credit
Uh,
or
No, it's more so them with their personal credit trying to get approval for business loans.
oh, okay.
Sometimes it's for business owners, other business owners that have customers that are having challenges, especially like realtors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes even people in auto sales as
Nice.
well because they can't sell you a car if you can't get approved, especially new auto sales.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really good. That's really good that you're working with so many. So I thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I really appreciate it. I feel like we have to have another one, but at the same time, I don't want to tell. I don't want people
Right.
to hear too much without, because you want to give advice, but at the same time, everybody's situation is different. So
Yeah.
generic advice is one thing, but you really, guys, if you're watching, your situation is different than my situation and her situation. So you just have to have a conversation. You have to set that time up and have a conversation, because um, you might think that you're worse off than you are, or you might be more worse off than you are, and you don't even know it.
Right.
So you definitely have to have a conversation. Connect with Charliette today, tomorrow, sometime, even if it's just a friend request, just connect and get that conversation started. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. Credit is a very important thing, especially now people are kind of freaking out. Am I going to lose my house? What's going to happen to
Right.
my job? Things like
Right.
that. So getting themselves situated is very important. So I greatly appreciate it. Do you want to add anything else before we leave?
Oh, that's it, guys. Feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help, and especially with my experience. I'm telling you, I've been through the ringer, so I do understand, believe it or not. I do understand, and definitely, feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this live, thank you so much for joining us. If you're going to watch it on the replay, just put hashtag replay. And if you have any questions, you can ask them on here, or like I said, connect with her directly. I'll make sure that she gets your questions, even if you ask it on the comment feed. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye bye.